Set your butane torches to high and your expectations to low. Coming to you live from Just the Tip Cigars in the hills of the Steel City, get ready to get your fix. This is the Cigar Junkies Podcast.
Welcome to the Cigar Junkies Podcast,
A cigar show for the community by the community.
a forum to talk stogies, booze, food, and anything else in cigar lifestyle.
If you're looking for ratings, negativity, reviews, or an authority on all things cigars, you came to the wrong place.
Whether you like what you hear or not, please join the conversation and let us know by finding us at the Cigar Junkies Facebook group.
Or emailing us at thecigarjunkies@gmail.com.
What's up, junkies?
Deja vu.
Here we go. Here we go again.
Take two.
Take two.
Is it starting to feel like a glitch in the Matrix to you?
It must be my birthday because it's Groundhog Day.
It's starting to feel that way. There's a lot
And
of
again and again. and again.
familiarity going on here, isn't there?
Yeah.
So what we found out is that it's nice to have a producer back. Kind of.
Which we covered on the last version of this episode.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's nice to have somebody else to really put the target on, isn't it?
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Just deflect that onto somebody else, and especially someone like Jason that just don't care anyway.
Ah, he's good with it.
Yeah,
That's what we love
so-
you, buddy.
I've broad shoulders.
Yeah. And a sweet sweater vest.
Yeah, you like this.
I do. I hate how much I love those things. They're super comfy.
My daughter calls it my homeless poet drip.
Yeah. Yeah, with the hat and everything, the
Yeah.
beard. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
So it's just a cucumber. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Or zucchini or
Zucchini.
carrot.
Yeah, so we had technical difficulties getting set up to get live on time. And then we had technical difficulties doing the show twice. And the best part is, it's not a long cigar to begin with, so this is going to be great. So, Jay,
Yeah, we'll see.
how you doing, buddy?
Oh, you know what? I'm doing great.
I want another swing at it. How was your week?
my week has been amazing. It was full of just probably one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life.
Do you remember Princess Bride?
I do.
Liar! 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 Unfortunately, I can't do that quiet, so I was like, ah. So how was your week, bud?
Humperdinck.
Hummading, hummading, hummading.
So here's the thing. This is the point where you have to start thinking to yourself, do you want to repeat or do you want to try to fill the show other ways?
Nah,
right?
repeat it.
All right, so here's the thing. Worked through my day off Monday. Had to work early start on Wednesday for a 12-hour shift. On Thursday, my relief called off, so I got stuck working a double. On Friday, I got up at 7 a.m., did the things, came over here, did an expedited thing for a meeting. Okay, here's the part that I didn't cover up until this point. This is where we kind of halted anyways. So we're caught up.
Yeah.
This is real life, no buffer. I ordered an e-bike.
E-bike, yes.
500 on the Amazons. Been trying to get one for a while. It was going to be Christmas present. We didn't have the money. Pushed it up. Birthday, didn't have money. Father's Day. Here we are again, circling around. So finally ordered one. It is a 26-inch mountain bike. It's kind of like really good reviews, but it's like a middle-of-the-road entry-level e-bike.
Yeah.
It comes, the only part that you assemble is like the front, the handlebars, the front tire, the seat, all that stuff. The back, all the mechanical stuff's already together.
Okay.
So it's relatively simple.
So easy, Corey could do it.
You'd think.
Oh.
Technically, it might have been. So I go down. I'm like, this is cool. Gonna try it in the roadway here. When I ordered it, it was like 70 degrees. Now it's freaking 20s again for some reason, because Pittsburgh's bipolar.
It's not Pittsburgh's bipolar. The groundhog lied.
Yeah,
He got
always
his
does.
money. He got his money. He's out. He's gone. Fine.
Always
Groundhog
does.
lied.
Yeah,
That'd be
the
a good
Groundhog
title
lied.
for the show too.
The groundhog lied.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of Groundhog references in the show. Go ahead.
They're coming around. You
It's
know
like
what
the
I mean?
fifth Groundhog episode I think we've had.
It's like the same thing over and over again, isn't it? So I go down and I test the throttle. Throttle works. Everything's cool. So I go to ride. Pedals are just doing nothing. And I'm like, nothing. I was like, okay, maybe it's like got caught in between gears. So I do one little click on the shifter. And
Did
I'm
it
like,
make that exact sound?
yes.
Sounded like a Murloc from World of Warcraft.
So, take the bike back up to the garage, look at it, and I'm going to give you a visual aid
Ooh.
because
I
this
love
was
aids.
just like, I see what you did there.
What?
Nothing.
So this is part
Oh, no.
of what you can see, something clearly not correct on that chain. Yeah,
Yeah, you might have.
it is. There's something happening there. That's not bueno. There's like reflections.
It's not great.
You flip it over, it's bent back and forth, layer upon layer of chain. I'm
Yes.
like, I have no idea what the heck's going on here. I don't know what to do.
You hit a
about
bump
this.
as you
So-
shifted.
Bump shift.
Yeah.
So I proceed for the next hour to try to untangle this chain. I can't do it. And I can't tell if they had it set wrong when they assembled it or what. But so my wife's cousin's very into bicycles. He's got tools, all that stuff. He says, I'll come over on Thursday and I could take the chain apart. I got a tool for that. So we'll take it apart. We'll figure it out. I said, cool. But then I ended up having a double, so that didn't happen. So we did do it yesterday, though. Yesterday, we did it on a day, and a Friday, and it worked. It was good. Everything's all hunky dory. We got to put back together. Everything's working.
Did you set the lashing on the tensioner? Because that'll cause that.
His thoughts were there's two different possibilities. First of all, we ended up taking a link of the chain out because he thought it might. He said sometimes they make them longer than they need to be. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Womp womp.
But the other thing is maybe the derailleur for the front gears
Yeah.
is over too far to one side and just kicked it all the way off of the gears up against the hub and the frame.
Yeah.
And so, but we got it straightened out. I got to make some adjustments to that tensioner to make sure that it cannot exceed its position. But it seems functional. Haven't got to ride it because it's cold.
Yeah. I got my fancy Specialized bike a couple of years ago, and first time I took it out into the woods, I was maybe a minute into it, and wham, brrr, almost the same
Is that
thing.
exactly how it sounded?
It sounded more like that than it did a Murloc. So yeah, that's exactly how it sounded. I'm going with it. But same thing, and mine ended up being that front derailleur. So
Yeah.
they're great when they work.
You say front derailleur?
Derailleur.
Okay.
Dude, it's a weird word. We're just sticking with that. So I love the fact that you got an e-bike. E-bikes are like going to McDonald's to eat healthy.
Yes. Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not quite that for me.
No?
Think about it as if I'm going to eat it all, I'm going to eat McDonald's. The problem is I won't throw a bike in the back of the truck and go to the trail and freaking unload it and go ride and then load it back into the truck and then come home and unload it and do all that stuff. If I'm going to ride a bike, I'm going to hop on it at home and ride it around home. My home is surrounded by many hills.
Mm-hmm.
Many hills that would, if I tried with a regular bicycle, I'd just be like, actually, I've done that. It's like, I'm not
Doesn't
gonna
work
do
out
this,
well.
No. So my thoughts are, with the pedal assist, I will ride it versus not riding.
No.
And
no.
Some exercise is better than no exercise.
It's like the guy that goes to the gym and parks in the front spot because he doesn't want to walk. I love that. That always cracks me up. Where like people are fighting for the front spot, and you're like, "Dude, you just came to the gym. You're getting ready to run 11 miles on the treadmill. Walk 84 feet."
Right.
That last 80 feet's what did it.
Yeah, that's what did me in.
What if he rolls his ankle on the way into the gym?
You're right. Those curbs can be nasty. Thank God they're painted yellow.
Right.
Well, in some cases, not all parking lots have painted lines.
Not
You know
all
what I
parking
mean?
lots are equal.
Well, you had mentioned the temperature swing,
Yes.
and that was my week.
Trying to maintain.
Well, Sunday night, I get a call. Hey, the boiler's not working. Like, oh, yay. So my day off was wonderful, and I got to spend it doing exactly the job that I thought I didn't do anymore, which was fixing stuff. So I get after the boiler pump on that. I worked on it, figured out, found parts all that Monday. Then Tuesday, did the install. But my wife and I were back and forth. She's like, we're getting ready to replace the boiler this summer anyways. We'll be fine. It's supposed to get warm again. And I was like, I don't trust Pittsburgh that much. Like, we have a wood burner. We can keep the house warm. You know, we keep it high 50s, low 60s on like a really cold night. The wood burner will do that. So I was like, all right, contemplated it. And I'm like, nah, it's still Pittsburgh for the couple $100 it's going to cost for the pump. Let's just change it out. And thankfully we did, because I've woken up warm as opposed to cold every day this week.
Do you have radiator heat?
Yeah, I have baseboard heat in the addition. I have underfloor heat in the bathroom, and then I have radiators in the rest of the house.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's all boiler system, which is great heat. It's just you don't have air conditioning, which blows.
My wife and I, before we were married, we lived in an apartment, and it had radiator heat. And I had my desk was set close to the radiator, and what I would do is I would take my coffee cup and I'd stick my coffee cup on top
Hot
of the
all
radiator.
day?
So it was hot all the time.
My buddy did underfloor heat in his bathroom, and he ran the underfloor heat through his towel rod
into the
so that
potty?
the towels were always heated. I was like,
What?
bro. Yeah, his towel rod, he put PEX connections on it. So he snapped it to the wall, and then he just put 2 screws in to hold it in place. And I was like, you beautiful genius. And then I tried to
genius.
do it, and the exterior of my house is not insulated, so I didn't want to waste the heat in the wall coming up. But yeah. But I do have coils of it underneath the tub. So even in the, like, they're not attached because I don't know if anybody knows what happens to cast iron. If you heat it up to 200 degrees and then throw cold water at it, it will explode. So I just have them like 3 inches below the tub, fill in that space, and then I insulate it around it. So my tub, when you get in, it's never cold. Never cold in the winter.
That's amazing.
It's so nice. And then underfloor heat's my favorite. The bathroom's always nice. You're standing there brushing your teeth. Your feet are nice and toasty, warm. Yeah, that stuff's fantastic. But yeah, I dealt with that. I got my car issues this week, which has been fun. Hood flew open on me at 45 miles an hour. I don't recommend that. And it was self-induced. I'm not even going to try and like say like, oh, this piece of crap. It was on me. I caught it. I almost said piece of poo a different way. But yeah, I was quite
He means shit.
jingle jangle.
All right.
You can't intentionally do it for comedic
No.
effect. It's
We're-
like we're
yeah.
trying until we get to a level of we are good. Then we can throw in the onesie
Okay,
twosies for
okay,
comedic effect.
okay.
Maybe. I thought the entire purpose of the exercise was to make it like more accessible and not have to worry about later
Right.
on whether there's swearing in the show or not.
Yeah, I think
And-
we
and,
covered that
like,
in the first 100 of them.
So whenever we're being really like, we may as well just go on a tangent now because the whole episode is tainted.
No, we're not using that logic.
But
I'm already going to get in trouble. I might as well
No,
murder him, too.
They can say it on South Park on Comedy Central. We
Yeah.
can get away with one.
Yeah, we'll be okay with onesie twosie. There's a limit to how many you're allowed to
Well,
have.
I think the point is to try to stay away from it altogether, right?
Correct,
Because
yeah.
what if you've got like a guy that's got, I don't know, like 6-year-old triplets in the back of the car, and you don't encourage them to swear?
Don't listen to our show while
This-
with your kids in the car,
this,
guys.
This is actually a great topic
All right,
because
get after it.
my wife and I try not to swear in front of my children. And my son has a friend whose parents let him swear.
Oh,
They don't believe in
parenting.
not parenting.
Sorry,
That was pretty funny.
sorry.
That's pretty funny. I wish we were recording 2 sources there
Yeah.
that I could flip back and forth like post.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely have made a little clip out of that.
You mean parenting?
So they allow their son to swear. And what's funny is because they don't believe that a word is inherently bad. Saying dang it is the same.
Yes.
It
Right.
It's
has
the meaning behind the word. If you put a
Correct.
negative connotation to the word, it's-
correct.
Yeah.
Like your kids going, "Oh, fudge."
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I told that to my son. I was like, "You mean the F word when you say that?" And
Well,
he's
yeah,
like,
but I didn't say it, Dad.
Right.
Yep. I remember that conversation with my parents, actually.
But I want to know what your opinion on it. I mean, all 3 of us have children, so
Well, Yeah, so what we do, we don't give the words any power. So if they swear, we just ignore it. And then, like, if they, and then we we
Isn't it
explain
like, hey, you could do that here, but not at school or
pretty
whatever?
much, yeah. It's look, the word is just a word. We're the same way. Like, don't give the word power, but at the same point, there's a place to use it and a place not to. There's nice words and there's not nice words. We don't do the bad word thing because bad gives it that negative reinforcement. Like, half the reason you start swearing in your early teens is because you're a rebel and you're doing it and all the time. And that's, I'm a
You
bad
wanna be
boy.
edgy.
I'm edgy, yeah.
And then you go
Meanwhile,
into the
y'all, we've
oil
done
field.
it. Yeah. And there is no more edgy.
No, it's
You-
just
you
all
dove
the time.
you get into the oil field and it's common parlance.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is every other word if you're lucky.
Yeah. So how about you? What's your take on it all? What would you do different with it if you go back, because yours are older, that's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's never really been much of an issue.
Yeah, but Kieran's too good of a kid. That's not a fair. Like,
Yeah, but she
your
does
daughter
that.
is
She's-
way
yeah,
cooler than
she's-
you have any right for her to be.
That's accurate. Aaron's not bad either.
No,
so
no,
Here's my favorite swearing story with Aaron, and I'm going to quote him directly only because Jason
Yes.
has already tainted the show. So, and this
See,
is a quote.
See, you gave it power.
I
gave
did.
it power.
I gave it power.
So, I think my son's 12 at the time. He's not the monster of a boy he is now. You know, he's smaller. He might have been younger than that. But 2 doors over, this neighbor used to have the son moved out, but he had a what kind of dog was Beethoven?
Saint Bernard.
A Saint Bernard.
yeah.
I wanted to say German Shepherd.
It's
He
a
had
snot.
he had a Saint Bernard, okay? And we were over with Summer, taking her over to play with the other dog next door, which is a border collie, which is a super cool dog and stuff. And Brutus, the Saint Bernard, comes
That is
over.
a great name.
And
for
Brutus is he's not a terrible dog, but he's mouthy. You know what I mean? He barks a lot, all that happy stuff. And so my son's over playing with the other dogs, and Brutus comes over, and Aaron's sitting down, and so the dog is like towers over him at this point, right? And so I don't know. Aaron gets a little bit startled, so he starts to get up. Brutus starts barking at him and getting in his face, and he didn't functionally bite my son, but he
Mouthed
one
him, yeah.
tooth came up to right here and hit him, and it was scary.
Yeah.
And it was bad, it hurt him. But more than anything, it scared him. And so he covers his eye, and he's screaming, and he yells up. He stands up, and I'm like, "You okay, buddy? You okay, buddy?" And my son, very timid kid, just goes, "Shit, shit, shit, shit."
You hit the limiter.
See, I told you that important to have that there, but we surpassed. Should have left it. So, anyways, he goes, "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry." I'm like, dude, if there's ever an appropriate time to swear,
That was it.
It's when a dog bites you on the eye.
right.
Like
That's okay.
and he wasn't hurt that bad. He did have blood coming down, but he's like thought his eye got bit out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He thought he shot his eye out with the big dog.
With the BB gun.
Yeah. And
Oh.
he was terrified. And of course, the neighbors were super wonderful and everything else and blah, blah, blah. It was fine. And
No,
they were so
that's
apologetic
fantastic.
and worried. And it's like, listen, we have dogs too, and we would be in your position as well. But he's
Yeah.
okay. He just had a cut, but it was really close to his eye.
Yeah.
And he was just like so mad. He's like, "I wanted to do is play with the dog. Now I have one eye."
One eye. Oh. Well, I think since this is such a short stick, let's get after
And it
it.
feels like we've been smoking it for like a half an hour.
I know, right? It's as though we did a half of a show before we did the show.
Let's discuss the cigar
10
of
minutes.
the week.
Come
shall we?
on. Who gave us this one?
It's a Leaning House. It's on the note. Oh no,
Gosh.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's Leaning
Doesn't
House.
it?
Yeah.
But-
It's
you
time
can't
for the
trust
Cigar of the
me
Week,
once I
brought
get
to you
it.
by Leaning House Fine Cigars. The Leaning House is your destination for the ultimate cigar smoking experience. Whether you're exploring their wide selection of premium cigars, unwinding in their comfortable lounge, or enjoying live music on one of the most unique and intimate live music venues in the burg, the house has something for everyone. Do you want to try the stick we're smoking today? Stop by leaninghousefinecigars.com or visit Dave in Bell Vernon or Heidi in Brownsville. Wherever you are, make the house your home for premium cigars.
That's right. Make the house your home for premium cigars. Today, the cigar of the week is the Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Nicaraguan. It is not the Toro, as my show notes suggest, because Sam did not respond to my messages yesterday, and I lost it
Did you
somewhere.
send me a message yesterday?
I asked you a couple of times what the size was. Yeah,
You picked the cigar.
I know,
Okay.
but it wasn't in the record that we have. It said Toro, and that wasn't right.
Yeah, that wasn't
It
correct.
wasn't right. I was pretty sure it wasn't right, but it was not right. So this is the Demi, and I can't read it. It's 5.5 by
46 by 5.5.
46 by 5.5. All right, so there you go. That's the size.
Do you need
It's made up size.
readers?
I mean, this is pretty small, and I have a light shining in my face, and part of it, but probably.
You
Yeah,
light
probably.
up his life.
The cigar has a Nicaraguan wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler from Nicaragua, making it what?
What do we have for him, Johnny?
A cigar.
Oh,
Well,
that's
half
right.
of one.
A Poro
So
cigar.
to celebrate their success as the 85-year anniversary milestone, Altetis brand ambassador Rafael Nadal once again reached out to Cigar Master blender AJ Fernandez for help in creating a tribute to the original blend of the first Monte Cristo cigar. In true AJ fashion, he swung hard and
As
he knocked
always.
it out of the park with the Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary Nicaragua, using premium tobaccos from AJ's farms and rolled at the esteemed San Latano factory. The Nicaraguan Puro is a medium to full body experience. I'm going to save a little bit more of that information for later in the show to utilize into that. No. You know what? I'm going to go
I was
into
gonna
it
say,
now.
yeah, 'cause we're-
Well, here's the thing I was concerned about was having another subject for later because I'm still ditching the events for now. But I do have a section later on where we'll discuss a comment from YouTube.
Ooh.
So that's something that we
Oh,
can
that's right.
can
Yeah.
embrace. Yeah, see, someone did his homework
Yeah.
okay enough, you know. So
I feel like
if
it was a
you're-
team effort, but go. Just you know what, Corey, you do you, boo.
So I don't know if you guys know about cigars or not.
I know nothing about
Never
it.
heard of them. What are
so I
they?
was kinda
What are they
counting on
for?
No. So particularly when cigars are rolled in a factory, and particularly back in the olden days, right? There would be no radio or anything for them to listen to for amusement while they're like for something in the background while they're rolling cigars. So what you would have is somebody called a lector that would stand up and read books to the rollers while they were rolling like a radio. Jason, your face.
You look
would-
captivated.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah. You know what the most popular book was?
The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo by the famed Alexander Dumas. And it was very popular in cigar factories in Cuba. So popular, in fact, that after Alonso Menendez, who bought Particulares cigar brand in 1935, immediately created a new brand named after the classic work. The Monte Cristo cigar was born. After Mendez's factory was Menendez's. There's a lot of E's and N's in this
Menendez.
name. That's a lot, you know. After the factory and cigar industry were nationalized by Fidel Castro on September 15, 1960, Alonso, with $7 in his pocket and his family, fled Cuba. The first stop was the Canary Islands belonging to Spain, but since the Monte Cristo brand already was sold there from Cuba, Menendez and his son Benjamin had to create a new name, so they chose Monte Cruz. Okay? The design scheme was very similar to the Monte Cristo, but the fleur de lis on the cigar brand was replaced with a cross. A cigar aficionado reported Menendez struck gold with the launch of Monte Cruz, an unapologetic copy of the Monte Cristo brand that he and his family lost in Cuba.
An unapologetic. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be.
Had a big middle finger on it, and Fidel Castro's face. next
Cross
to
middle
it.
finger, same thing. You know, it's all interchangeable. Made with a Cameroon wrapper, a dark, toothy leaf that would soon prove a worthy substitute for the Havana wrapper. Monte Cruz quickly became the #1 premium cigar in the U.S.
Ooh. Wait,
So-
that wasn't a Cuban cigar, though. Cuban cigars are the best. They're the only good ones.
I was like, where are we going with this? I think I had some more stuff here on it as well, but maybe I didn't pop it all in there. But you know what I do have? I have the call to arms, don't I?
You do.
So remember, guys, if you're
Action.
listening to this, if you're watching this, if you're watching it live on Facebook for the second time today, you are the Cigar Junkies. And because of you, this show keeps on going, even sometimes when we don't feel like doing it. Maybe something terrible happened and somebody punched the countertop, and maybe somebody else got the poop scared out of him when he thought he was done pooping. You know
You
what I
never
mean?
know
Like,
what's going to happen.
but we
It's-
keep it
could be
going
anything.
for you. We keep this show moving right along, and you can help us continue to do that by liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the podcast, not just on this platform, any platform. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, it's there. It's out there. It's everywhere. So I don't know what you're doing with the rest of your Sunday, but what you should be doing is going, hey, let's get on all these things. I'm just going to listen to the show over and over again.
Give
you
them
know
a
what I mean?
little how do
Because
you
it helps
do.
the boys. That's what's important.
It does. It keeps the cigars in our mouths and the cameras on our faces.
Well, Sam and Dave keep the cigars in our mouths, but the cameras part, that's definitely
It does help.
relative. You know the most important thing you could do?
What's that, Corey?
You can go to thecigarjunkies.com. No. Yes. Thecigarjunkies.com. I keep always forgetting because it's the I worry about.
Yep.
Right back and forth. It's that one right there that you can kind of see. Now dance it around a little bit because of the white.
This
Nope.
magic-
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
All morning you were trying to move that darn.
It wouldn't move.
Up there.
I don't know what caused that.
Is that it's on me probably? Yeah.
No, I think that was Sam that caused the limit
I'm
that time.
telling
Me?
I'm telling you. Remember when we were
Boom.
going through all this?
Boom.
Got to go back and reset them all to whatever the other one was. Is what we do. We try to improve the show, and what we end up doing is just messing it up. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? We should just keep sticking with what works.
I think we've managed expectations well, which is don't have expectations.
Relative.
Like, so,
Go to thecigarjunkies.com where you can hear all of the latest episodes one way or another. You can help support our good friends, Dave and Patty, or Ringo, Chichingo, whatever you call him. He could use some support. He's still recovering, getting through some tough times medically. We have a link on our page on our website where you could go to the GoFundMe that we set up for him. You can help them get through some rough times. There was a cigar box guitar raffled off last night at
Nice.
the Leaning House, which brought in $300 from him, which was super cool.
Ooh.
Another thing you
there
could
we
do while
go.
you're there, you could pick up a lovely Cigar Junkies t-shirt.
one like this.
One like this, one like that. You could get a hoodie. You could get it double-sided. You could get the one Jason has on.
No, you can't.
Oh no, I thought he had it on.
Thought he was
I
finally
don't
going
have
to
my
rep the
green one
junkies.
anymore. I gave it to somebody. I don't remember who.
I wore mine.
Yeah. That was very BGD of you. Your body motion. There. Don't hit me.
Don't hit me.
It's like, I know I crossed the line. Sorry.
That wasn't that loud.
Yeah,
it was.
not.
It's catching the limit.
Told you not to
That's-
mess.
Wow.
Huh.
Just
Does anybody else feel like at this point it's just like, all right, bye everybody. Like, this is
No.
a good show.
I do want to comment on the fact you called it the call to arms. It's a call to action. We are not trying to arm the junkies. Like a whole bunch of junkies armed running around out there sounds kind of scary.
Sounds like America.
It does. But you know
Actually,
what?
I like Call to Arms better.
That's
It's
great.
because
It's-
you're fighting for us. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you're
That's
helping
right.
us.
All
Call
right.
to Arms is way more funner than Call to Action.
Well, if you are into pew pew sticks, today we're going to have a guy with some guns to play with here at the shop
What was the point of saying pew pew just to say guns?
because it was fun to say.
All right, just
Yeah,
keeping
it's
up.
pew pew
I'm just
stick.
trying to follow the logic.
Yeah, it's just a different way of saying it.
Listen
I dropped
up.
a pew pew stick this
Listen-
morning while you were raging out on your couch.
Listen up,
I helped.
screwheads. This is my boomstick.
Boomstick. Yeah, Aridus Industries will be here for the Liberty Pool thing. Got a lady, local lady that makes beef jerky, black and gold jerky. She's going to be here. Dave Mason, which you guys have met, we've talked about a couple times on here. He's going to be here, as well as Liberty Pool, and then we're doing patina deals today. So,
Jeez Louise,
yeah.
man.
Well, I couldn't get a cigar brand, so I figured I'd just get as much other stuff as I could in.
This is my pew pew stick. There are others like it, but this one
One
is mine.
Oh, that is fantastic. So, what do you think of the cigar so far? I've had this before.
Oh, she's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
wouldn't call it particularly strong on the palate, really.
I think it's got a good. It has a strong flavor. It is not, in my opinion, a strong cigar.
no.
But
It's also
it's
a
definitely
box
got a lot
press.
going there.
It's bold.
Yeah.
It does not cause that like when you're smoking a strong cigar, you get that like your mouth starts to salivate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This isn't doing that to me.
No.
But also I am taking my sweet time.
I have been as well. So I took like a little more
I have not.
aggressive of a pull on it after you said that. And here's the thing. The normal draw, not that intimidating. I put it 6. Retro, as flavorful as they get, I
Yeah.
think. That retro is very intense.
But like
Not burning.
when somebody
flavor.
talks about like Nicaraguan tobacco being peppery, this is the pepper I'm thinking of. This is not that incredibly bold, craziness, this is what I think of for that. So like, this makes me think of a Nicaraguan cigar.
If you retro this, your nose will let it, you know it's there.
Yeah.
That's what disappoints me about the Camachos, because the fact that they're not the same as they were,
Hurts your soul.
it does. It hurts my soul a lot.
Which is humorous, because you didn't even have what they were. You have what they were after what they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I don't think I ever had the OGs.
No, I
No.
had a box of them, and I tell you what, that guy would turn you green.
Yeah.
Because I did it. Not to be fair. To be fair. That was like early crossover cigar. That was one of the ones that turned me from buying Gurkhas online and stuff to going like, hey, let's start
What's this?
going and digging into this seriously. But I think I've said this before. There was one time I was smoking one on a lease road in West Virginia because I was like, I'm going to take a break.
You went
And I
too
didn't-
fast.
It was 11/18, the Aroa patented size. And so I was like, oh, man, like I've already been out here a half an hour. I'm not even halfway done with this thing. I better pick up the pace. And like I was like dry heaving over the hill. I didn't know about the
Not
sugar
great.
packets and stuff
Yeah.
back then. I was just like, oh, my God. It felt like I got in a fight with a rhino.
Oh man.
Speaking of
Are
rhinos.
you gonna talk or are you gonna hack?
No, you can't swallow, or you can't breathe saliva.
Tell Eric that.
So interestingly enough, I've gotten like, man, perhaps I should slow down on this cigar, but I have never gotten sick off of one.
No. Well,
Yeah, no, you will. It'll
yeah.
happen.
One of these days, you'll get aggressive and be like, you'll be like, all right, let's see who can smoke faster or something. If it's gonna happen, it'll happen on the digger for him.
No, not necessarily, because it's all about like the lead up to it, like empty stomach. Did
It
you have a
can
sugary drink? Like, there's 1,000 factors that go into it.
Well, the thing
Beyond
is
just the
how
cigar.
fast too. Pretty
Yeah.
much if you
I
pace
don't.
yourself
I
on it.
never eat before I come here. I don't eat.
Neither do
breakfast.
I.
Okay.
I'm saying like it's there's a whole storm of things that go into it, and it's just going to be
It's accurate.
the day it happens is going to be interesting because you're going to be like, oh, there it is. That would be it. Because like as many cigars as I smoked at like PCA, stuff like that, I didn't have it through all that, but a random Green Hornet one day tried to take me out.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what like.
Was the little Asian guy with the name? The Green Hornet. Didn't he have the little Asian?
Oh, you're
the
thinking,
sidekick? You were looking at me
What's his
like
name? No, I got it. It took me a minute.
KO or something.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have to do that on my phone anymore
Yeah.
because I can just pull it up right here and you can see
make
it.
the buttons.
Well-
Green Hornet assistant.
Seneca said the first cigar he ever got sick on was Guardian of the Farm Night Watch, but he was also
Cato.
drinking beer.
Cato.
Cato.
That's close with the K.
Drinking
Cato.
beer and crappy whiskey. Yeah, alcohol definitely assist in that. But I think
My favorite thing right now is Eric in the chat room
Yes.
going, I want to be armed. He wants to be towed.
he's not even here.
I know, but he's active. You know what I mean? He's participating, and there's your trophy.
It's fantastic.
Drinking beer and crappy whiskey, says Ryan Seneca.
Was it crappy beer too? That's the question.
See, here's what we got to do.
Drinking PBR and Admiral Nelson.
Dude, I'd rather have PBR than Miller 64.
I think we should challenge like Jason on the digger to be like, hey, can you finish this cigar in 2 hours?
Ooh.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like there has to be something to incentivize him to go a little hard on that cigar.
Yeah, that's
That's a fun idea, right?
I feel like we don't need to make him sick. It's going to happen eventually, and he'll know what we're talking about once it gets there. Let's not make it happen. Most people actively attempt to avoid that. That would be my coffee maker. It likes to sing to us every week. And it does pick up really, really well in the episode, because when I was re-listening to last week's, it was like, beep, oh no. That's when I had to get up right after, like, you read all the stuff off your sheet, and then it was like, oh yeah, now you have to monologue too.
I'm sure Jason did not listen or watch, and even so, there was like the one day we lost stuff, so I don't remember which one's what anymore. But it was like I was prepared for the fact that it was just me and him, right? And so it was like, okay, I have this thing that I'm going to use as a filler if I need to, but it's also designed to engage a conversation with us about cigars, because why not?
Sure.
You know?
I mean, we are the
And
cigar
so
junkies.
I just finished this really long thing in my notes that was designed to create content between the two of us. And somebody
I
walked
got up.
in, and he had to get up and walk away. And I'm like, that would have been really cool if that had happened 5 minutes ago, so I would have had some content to read you guys while he's off doing his own thing. And now I'm just sitting here like,
So I didn't get to hear it, and it was like it was the first time for me, which you ended up commenting on there, and it was kind of funny because you go, oh, you look like somebody just punched you in the stomach. As soon as I got up, you're like, oh, well, kind of wish Jason was here so we could talk about something, but instead you guys get to hear me talk about the fact that I have nothing to talk about.
That's right.
But luckily for Sam, it'll be the first time he gets to hear this. And I was like, all right, yeah, there it is. So I was amused.
that was an accurate reenactment.
Yeah. Oh, you looked so defeated when I got up. I was like
really, right now? This
Like-
had to be time?
it was so, you looked so defeated. I wanted to feel bad, but I was more amused by it than
fine.
feeling bad. So that
It's
was,
fine. It's just, you prepare as much as you want.
yeah.
But much as life, this show just does what it wants to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to go whichever way it wants to.
So
And
I
there's-
don't know if this is accurate, but like I believe everything I hear on the internet. And the famed and esteemed Mr. J from the TCA says that the reason that you get that sick feeling when you overdo on a cigar, right, is because your body's metabolism thinks that your blood sugars are low. And that's why you can trick it by taking a sugar packet and pouring a little bit of sugar underneath your tongue. It's supposed to kill it instantly. Take a bite out of a candy bar, sweet drink, something like that.
Take a bite out of crime.
So that's what we should do, is we should challenge him to make himself sick.
No.
And then we
no,
should have
no.
sugar packets and candy bars and
Fun
stuff
Dip.
sitting around, and we can test whether or not.
That's why I have Fun Dips over there.
There you go. So it's like,
That bowl's full of Fun Dip for exactly that reason.
it'd be like giving yourself an ice cream headache on purpose
Interesting.
to see if you could fix it by putting your thumb on the roof of your mouth.
I've never heard that before. Is that a thing?
It's supposed to be, yeah, because
Yeah.
you know what the headache comes from.
Your sinus cavity's freezing?
Yeah, well, the roof of your mouth, the cold on the roof of your mouth is
Oh.
directly connected to the nerves in like your sinuses, and so it shrinks those nerves and causes that pain in your head.
Sounds like
and
a
if
design
you
flaw.
warm it up quickly, it's supposed to go away. So you just take your thumb and put it up on the roof of your mouth.
Coffee works.
My best advice is just to try to avoid them because they're
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen that internet video where that dude eats the icy bar?
With his butt?
No, he like takes the whole like popsicle bar and he eats it in like 3 bites, and then you see the cold headache set on. It's funny. So
that's
if I were a better producer, I'd be able to put that,
You'd be like,
that
bam, bam,
little
bam, bam.
video up there.
I highly recommend that Ryan Seneca does try that. I don't recommend this to the kids at home, but he asked if he gets brain freeze eating ice cream, should he stick his torch lighter in his mouth?
Yes.
Only you, yeah. Nobody else at home. We do not
Only
endorse
you.
sucking on torches unless you've got a cool cockatoo haircut.
No, what was there's the other one where the guy, he does like the Mentos and like the 2 liter of Diet Coke. He hammers it down real quick.
He looks like if I was from Mexico and...
That's not Mexico, bud.
Oh, it's fair.
That's
That's not good.
quite disturbing.
That's like if somebody put Corey
Now
in a
watch.
can
Watch.
crusher.
Oh. Oh, you can see it. Oh, can the kids see it with us?
No, the kids can't
Oh.
see it.
So it's YouTuber loses it with huge 1-bite ice lolly brain freeze. The amount of pain on this guy is just next level. So he drinks his cold tea. Nice.
It really looks like if we took the camera shot of me right now and you could do the stretch and you could just bring the top down and just make me shorter and wider. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. He did kind of look like you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little less apt to drive well, but yeah.
He's like if somebody superimposed my features on a baby.
What's superimpose?
I did not understand that
It
reference.
sounds like
It's
a
okay.
cheech.
It's an Adam Sandler reference.
Oh.
The goat skit
Yeah.
where he was like, he had the picture of the goat had the picture of him on the roller coaster
Yeah.
on the dashboard of the truck. And the old man was like, "You got off the truck?" And he was like, "No, they superimposed me." And when the old man was walking away, I heard him go, "What's superimposed?"
What's superimposed? You button hook me. I love that skit. I can't believe I don't remember that part.
That
I
fat
do remember
kid Garrett Buther chucked the cinder block at me, chip my horn.
Chip my horn.
Sorry, my mind is creating a new cartoon to continue on. So it's like
Oh, you're just
Clark Kent doing this
why?
because it's super in pose.
Dude,
Now you got your.
I'm
own
not,
ice
I'm
cream
not
headache
into the
faces.
buttons, but that deserved a wah wah.
You're-
I don't know, he seemed pretty,
your brain.
Yeah.
No, that. What was incredible to me was the glimpse there into the framework of your thought
cogs,
process. Yeah.
Of like what? Now, see, I'm not even looking. I don't. There's something broken there, and it's I got nothing.
Inside of my brain is the real Beaver in Groundhog War. That's what's going on up there, essentially. Yeah.
So what groundhog do you use? I'm assuming you got like Angry Beaver's beaver in there for your
Which
mental
beaver
visual.
though? Is it the brown one or the tan one?
Oh yeah. Which one of the Angry Beavers?
I'm equal opportunity. I don't see color. I just see beavers. You know.
Well played. Well played. So, but who's the animated groundhog we're gonna be using?
Has somebody animated a groundhog?
I'm
This
sure
table
somebody
is
along-
going bananas right
Yeah,
now.
so is the shot. Yeah. It looked like earthquake. Ah!
That was me chortling.
Chortling. Oh. So do we have a question of the week? I did not actually. I didn't think of one this week. I usually try and get a
well,
couple.
I mean, we
of them
have
in
one from a audience member, but
But
that's
I meant,
supposed
like,
to be
our more-
segmented later.
or more.
No, this like in terms of subject matter, I feel like
You
I
can
had
use the gopher from
already-
Caddyshack.
Wait. Second from the left is my preference.
Okay, I got
The
you.
little chubsy.
Yep.
With
chubsy
that,
guy.
yeah, you know what? That looks like something from Eric's life.
Oh,
CADD, bud.
It got it.
It figured it out. It's been misspelled. I love the. Do you remember the skits of if Google was a person?
yes.
I love those.
Yes.
It's like, what was the one? What if done do or whatever? Like it's just like it's the way that the questions are asked, and you think about it, you're like, yeah, no.
I like the. Did you ever see the Am I Pregnant? Where Google it was like Yahoo Answers or something. This is an old
Yeah.
video, and it was different people asking in like forum boards, "Am I pregnant?" But it's all spelt wrong. It's like, "Am I pregnant?"
Pregnant.
How
Not pre-gaming.
how to become pregnant?
Pregnant. Oh,
I did. There's a lot of highlights from that. That's
That
one
is a
of the
phenomenal
best skits
skit.
ever done for sure.
yeah.
It's like he misspells something, and it's like it actually sounds like a reasonable thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me get that for you." And he hands him the file. He goes, "I'm sorry, I mean big boobies." And then he goes, and he pulls out like a file cabinet worth of stuff. Like,
It's just Jergens tissues.
yeah. Yeah, and he's like, "You're not gonna."
No, not here. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, look up if Google was a person. Start at 1, and I think there's 4 of them. Go through that.
It's time for the cigar news, brought to you by the Strum Junkies. Dun, 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 dun. Do you want to hear acoustic music? Probably not. But if you're in one of the places we're playing, you're going to hear it anyway.
That was
that's all I
way
got.
smoother than not having an intro.
I mean, I was kind of leaning into it not being smooth on purpose. You know what I mean? That was kind of the ambition.
I know, and that's
Oh,
I was
yeah.
enhancing that exact same thing. It was teamwork, bud. Makes the dream work.
Now enhanced with extra stupid.
Enhance.
Okay,
Enhance.
cigar news. I've abbreviated this because it's PCA week.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So there's a lot, and I covered a lot of like real quick. Like here's what's being showcased at PCA last week, but here are a couple of the ones that stuck out to me that I thought were interesting. Well, Ford Dominicana will introduce the LFD 30 years. The cigar is a tribute to Lido and Inez's Gomez, 30 years in the premium cigar industry. The LFD 30 years comes in a 6.5 by 58 box pressed chisel. The blend uses a dark Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper over a Dominican binder from the Cotoy region. I didn't say that right for sure, but I don't think it was a terrible attempt. The fillers come from the Gomez family farm in La Canela. The LFD 30 years is being released in humidors containing 60 cigars in each. Now, there's going to be, Jason, I'd like you to do some math here in your brain. Not, I don't, this isn't like, for fun, yes. Okay. So, let's get back to it. 30 years, blah, 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 blah. 60 cigars in each humidor. There will be 2,000 humidors crafted at the Tony Gomez Box Factory. And this cigar will carry a price point of $30 a piece. So, a $30 cigar that you can only get in a humidor of 60. That equals a
sounds about
big
right.
price tag.
Oh, yeah. 60 times 30.
Yeah, it's going to be 1,800 paper Lincolns.
No, it's not. It's gonna be 1,800 paper Washingtons.
Washingtons.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
How many paper Lincolns?
Carry the two. I don't care. Just saying.
Yeah.
Divided by 5.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not doing that right now. Let's go.
Right.
Continue.
This episode just got a whole lot longer because
right.
Corey, Jason, and Sam decided to do mental mathematics.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
that's how I was like, I'm not. Yeah,
man,
that's
we
a
gotta-
rabbit hole I'm not going
The
through.
content's got to come from somewhere, you know?
Today. Well, it won't be us.
It would just be the three of us sitting here going like this.
Yep. I carry the two, and then oranges are delicious. I like
COE Cigar Company will showcase the Asylum April Fool's 2024 Year of the Dragon. The Dragon. It's a Honduran Puro. This year's edition features an all-new packaging design that'll excite Eric. You know, he loves the girth and the package design. Gone are the massive
no.
coffins, and the cigars are now housed in tubes.
No, just move on. We're not even going down that rabbit hole. You let that be. You leave that one alone. You let
Bad
that,
Corey.
You just let it go.
Bad Corey.
Let it go.
I got to get one of those.
Oh, okay.
You need a newspaper.
Yeah.
Rolled up newspaper. Just,
Can we get a
prefer-
squirt bottle?
No, no. I was literally a half a second away from. I prefer the newspaper to the squirt bottle.
Can of pennies.
'Cause-
ching ching.
Oh, I'd be so mad. I'd just be leaving here, and everybody's like, "What the hell? Did it just rain on the right side of your body? Why are you soaking wet on just one side?"
he's shaking like he just got back from Nam.
Sam's a squirter. What can I say? You know. Ovea Negra brand will introduce the Black Label trading company Orthodox. That's interesting because usually their stuff's a little unorthodox. Yeah. It'll be a small batch release. 2 retailers attended the PCA trade show on a first-come, first-served basis. Produced at Fabrica Oveja Negra. It's a lot of words. Orthodox features a Mexican San Andreas wrapper over an Ecuadorian Habano binder and all Nicaraguan fillers. Presented in 20-count boxes, the cigar comes in 3 sizes: Toro, Corona Gorda, and a short Robusto. That's my size right there. They say I'm like a short Robusto.
That's gonna have some kick.
JRE Tobacco will showcase the upcoming Aladino Cameroon Reserva. The company says it's the first Cameroon Puro grown from 100% Honduran Cameroon at the JRE Tobacco Farm in Honduras. The Aladino Cameroon Reserva is presented in 12-count boxes and comes in one size, a 52x6 Toro, which is backwards. We know it's a 6x52.
Thank
the
you.
MSRP is 4 paper Lincolns and 2 paper Washingtons.
Or it could be 22 paper.
4 Lincolns and
or
2
paper
Washingtons walk into a bar.
Oh, it's a lot of wigs. It's a lot of powdered wig.
Pirate walks
So
into
you
a
guys
bar
don't
with a
know
steering
this.
wheel in his pants.
I got a little tribute to one of my favorite podcasts is from a group called Kinda Funny.
Okay.
They started as video games. Actually, like they were the original video game podcast over at IGN. They had a show called Beyond, and they branched off, did their own thing. They started doing reviews of, like, they'd watch a movie and then they'd go through the plot and talk about it. And there's one guy that's always fixated on, like, the bad weaves and wigs and stuff that they put people in it.
Yeah.
And so, like, they'd start to talk about it. And the one day the guy just made up, the guy's name, they call him the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino. Okay. So one day the guy just makes up a segment on the show while they're talking about this. And is it a wig? I don't know. Wigging out with Scarpino. And you said the wigs, and that's just another little insight into my brain. You're welcome. Welcome for that.
That's
Depth and breadth knows no bounds.
What's
No?
the second part?
The depth and breadth knows no bounds.
You know what's funny? Sometimes I sit back here and I like press buttons and stuff, and both of you be like quiet down and don't say anything, and I'm not doing anything.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm just making it look like I'm pressing buttons.
Good for him. You feel better?
Yeah, I just had to get that out there.
See, that's a glimpse into Jason's mind. He's just messing with us.
That's all I do. My daughter gets mad because she knows that, like, or not that she knows, but she always presumes that I'm
Joking
joking or messing around or something like that. So I'll say something and she'll look at me and be like, "Do I believe you?" Because last night she's dealing with a little bit of like indigestion, and she's like, "I can't burp. I feel like I need to burp." Blah blah blah, and baking soda and water.
Yeah,
that'll get you.
That'll do it.
Whoa, will that get you?
I feel like we should just get Jason like one of these
Yes.
toys back there.
I think
so
I
he
have
just
one.
has stuff to play with.
I think I have one. Don't show him.
So I so I gave her the baking soda and water last night, and she was she wouldn't drink it at first because she was kind of trepidatious about whether or not it would, like, I don't know, make her blow up.
She was thinking it was going to be like the vinegar and baking soda. She was looking at it incorrectly.
Maybe I should have given her like a drink of vinegar afterwards.
Oh, that's evil. That's wrong right there. No, you were. I don't know why it made me think about it. So my kids started a new thing. So I come home and there's notes left for me. It was on the kitchen table. Now it's in their bedrooms. They have notebooks that. So like every night when I come home, I got to respond to their note, and then every morning when I leave,
That's adorable.
I respond to their response. You know, it's been a blast, man. It's just one of those silly, cute things that's just great.
That is adorable.
Yeah, it's the highlight of my day. Some days is just coming home and being like, "What did they write?" You know, the other day, Sammy drew me a picture of an upside down guy that just said, "Help me." That was it. That was my note for the day. My daughter, Talia, likes to write song lyrics. Just random song lyrics.
You go home and it says, "Woke up quick at about noon." Just thought that I had to be
Like,
in
I've never
conferences.
been so proud. But no, and then Charlotte Rose, hers is dated and time stamped, and then like a note and everything. She puts it like March 21st, 8:04. Hi, Dad. What time did you get home? So like I have to date it, time stamp it, be like, this is the time I got home. It's just the way that their three brains logic out what to write is
That's
hysterical.
Cool. Yep, and your son, it's just like a dinosaur eating a bowl of cereal on top of the Empire State Building.
Now it's mazes and traps. So like he's doing mazes and like try and get to the center, Dad, and then I have to make a maze at 1:00 in the morning after being here all day. Surprisingly, more difficult than I thought it would be to draw a random maze for a 6-year-old. And then you see the ads for the what's that king game where the king's trapped and like you got to move the gems to like free him with like pull the pins. He's been drawing that kind of stuff. Like, how do you help me, Dad? And I'm like, okay, bro, you're putting some serious effort into this.
takes all day, and he's like, I have to design this game for my father so he will have fun when he gets home.
At the end of it, his little notebook is going to be like a guide to making an app of like games at this point.
Hey,
Oh, he's going after it for real.
that's cool.
This is only funny to me because they're triplets. But I think it would be awesome if you're like, okay, today's puzzle, one of you is adopted. Can you figure out who?
I don't think that's funny. I think that's evil. I feel like
Well, I'm not suggesting you actually do it. I'm just saying the hypothetical idea of
if we go by the
triplets.
Star Trek theory, Corey's goatee is accurate. Whenever
the goatees,
the goatees makes him evil.
So that comes up in Futurama, which doesn't surprise
it?
me because they do a lot of Star Trek-y stuff on there that I only know because they say, hey, this is a Star Trek thing. But yeah, so it's like the evil bender. You ever see that one? What's his name? I can't remember.
Evil Bender.
No. Flexo. Flexo has a beard.
Oh, I do remember
And
seeing
so
that.
it's like, wait, you think he's evil just because he has a goatee?
Yeah. Ryan said, "Looks like you need to take a Sharpie to some of that goatee, bud."
I've been looking at that. They've got this like mascara for your facial hair.
Just for men.
Kind of, but it's like it's not dye. It's like you for a day or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like a washout color. And
Yeah.
I'm like, might be time. Like not every day, not all the time.
I don't care.
Dude, there was a guy that we worked with that would I can't. Oh, there's a guy in Galvanized. That's a better representation. There's a guy named Mike in Galvanized. And he's got just the thickest mop of hair you've ever seen in your life, and it is ridiculously gray for his age. But then he dyes his beard jet black.
Nice.
No, not ringing a bell.
Nope.
Oh, dude, it's like, why?
He
just
embraced
that part?
the contrast. He's
I don't know. It's like it's just.
I'm just
Do
over
it
here
all-
trying to
all or
look like
nothing.
Jeff Scales as quickly as I possibly can.
is that you? You're like, please
You
gray
better
out,
hit the
please
gym
get gray.
there, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely need to get to the gym.
Yeah, your arms are about 2 of them short right now.
I have the body of a god.
So much the way.
Buddha.
Oh yeah.
Much the way that
Dionysus.
if you squished my picture down this way, I looked like the popsicle guy. If we just grabbed you by the middle and squeezed you to like a Popeye, a la Popeye
Oh, yeah.
cartoon, just spread it all out, you'd be
Yes.
Yeah, I would. Can we get that done? Like we get some ratchet straps or something.
Might
that's
kill
tied
you.
around my belly.
there. But I'm down to
I
try
like
it.
it. So I was sitting here contemplating like what thing about cigars we should talk about. How often do you ash your cigar, and why?
More often than I should because I make a mess. But even though I do, I make a mess anyways.
Yeah.
Essentially, what I can tell you is like scientifically, the ideal amount of ash to have on your cigar is about 1 inch.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. The ash insulates the cherry from the air, which makes the cigar burn cooler. Cooler burning cigar, cooling but consistently burning tobacco is better. You heat it up too fast. That's what happens if you puff on a cigar really fast. It starts to get bitter and starts to taste bad. Is because you're not getting the blend at the rate that it's supposed to be smoked to mix evenly. So if you're puffing super hard, chances are you're burning down your wrapper and your binder, but your fillers and especially your Ligero are not going to burn as
Right.
quickly. So, and likewise, if you smoke too slow and you start to see that you have a flat cherry or an inverted going the other
Yeah.
way, that's not bueno either.
Well, that's it's funny because the ash works 2 ways. One, it prevents the fresh air to keep it from combusting too fast, but also it's an insulator to keep the heat in to keep it burning. So like if you have 1 inch of ash on it, you can leave it in the ashtray a lot longer than if you just ashed it and set it down. It's going to go out quicker. Sorry.
I'm a former cigarette smoker,
Yeah.
so stopping myself from ashing the cigar is something
Every
that
time you hit it.
is something that I consciously have to do.
Yeah.
Because, and I absolutely have noticed that. And sometimes it's almost difficult to like tap the cigar and have the ash fall off of it.
Generally, I just touch you can usually keep some of it if you just gingerly rotate and tap a little bit to kind of shape what you want on there. But then ultimately, you think you got it, and you go to take a puff, and,
And it falls
big
on you.
thing just
Yep.
falls right in your lap.
Yeah.
And if you want proof that I haven't figured it out yet, the interior of my truck is definitely all you need to look at.
Well, funny
Because-
enough, Ryan just asked a question about that. What about when you're smoking in your car? How do you do it without destroying the interior?
I don't smoke in my car.
That's
Leather and rubber floor mats are how I go. Avoid any fabric
Yeah.
to prevent your car from being destroyed or from smelling too bad.
If the trip I'm taking isn't long enough to smoke the entire cigar,
You don't smoke.
I do not smoke cigar in my car.
Oh, I do. But I have the handy dandy Alec Bradley shotgun ashtray.
Ooh.
And so when I need to run in the store, whenever I'm like work, generally, I smoke a Rothschild on the way to work, and it's not a long enough ride for the whole cigar. Usually it's just a little, like I smoke a little more on the way than half, so I don't get a full cigar coming back. But you pop it in the rest and let it go out and come back, and it's there for you.
Yeah.
One of these days, Corey's going to come back to a smoldering husk of a truck.
Nah, not with that ashtray. He'll be okay.
It's
All right,
ceramic.
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab another cigar because you guys have a good bit left, and I really needed a cigar today, so mine's gone.
You
Excuse
are
me
in the
one
right
sec.
place for that.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I can find one here.
You think?
Okay, so if you intend to do that, and I don't always remember to do this, but let's say, for example, right now, you're only going to get to smoke half your cigar. And you intend to come back to it later, and it's
Yes.
going to be at least an hour.
Yes.
When you take your last puff off of that cigar, you should purge it.
Oh, blow through it.
Blow through and clean the ash off. And, well, don't necessarily clean the ash off, but blow through as well as you can before putting it to rest. When you come back, you want to get all of the ash off that you humanly can.
Mm-hmm.
Clean it off. If you have to take a tip of a pen or a toothpick or something to clean the ash out, as long as you're not damaging the tobacco, clean as much out as you can. Toast it, again, the same way that you would before you light it. And then, again, once it's toasted, purge, blow through again, then light it normally. And that'll eliminate as much as possible of getting, problems with the cigar not tasting super great after you relight it.
So I'm not familiar with the shotgun ashtray exactly that you were talking about. Is it
It's-
similar to that guy?
It's better.
Okay.
Because if you want to come back to that cigar, it's been sitting in its own ash and the heat's rising from underneath. What I have is a ceramic cup with rest on it. So it essentially kind of looks like an upside down baseball cap, right? So the cigar rests in that portion of it. And then there's a rubber piece around the outside that can be removed. And it'll help it lock into your cup holder.
Gotcha.
Jason, use your superpowers for good over there. Google and pull up, if you will, Alec Bradley shotgun ashtray.
So I like this style because I like to set my cigar down often. This style has the long rest and the short rest for the cigar for while you're smoking it. Now, as far as like coming back to it, yeah, I get what you're saying. But at least this one's, I haven't seen this one before. I just got it recently.
That is the ashtray that I have in my truck.
Gotcha. The problem with that is if you're driving, you can have the potential for the cigar to fly out. It's not probable, but it is possible where this guy's going to prevent that because the cigar.
That's accurate.
The cigar rests, but you're not setting yours down often when you're driving.
The only reason that I'm going to set the cigar in the rest while I'm driving is if I'm eating or something like that. And you're right. It can roll around in there, but primarily I'm using that to rest it while I leave the vehicle.
When you walk out of the car.
What?
So there's two rings. Do you want to go ahead and show it to him? I'll explain it while you do.
Yeah, sure.
So there's two rings in that, in the inside of that, and there's a spacer plate at the bottom. So that spacer plate's going to give you a 1/2 inch underneath for the ash to fall through. So when you use the upper ring, which is just a big circle, the cigar can slide all the way down through and sit in there.
How do you use this?
So here, it'd be easier for me to explain as I go. Sure. So this guy here, let me see the shot. I can't. There we go. So like if you just started the cigar and it's longer, you can just rest it in there. Mm-hmm. And if you have a nub of a cigar where it's short and you want to get after it, you can set it up in the little coiled section and it can rest in there like that. And that way you can still get to it and you're not trying to dig your fingers down into it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to stick my cigar in there. And
yeah, you do it in the coiled section.
You may damage your ash condition.
Yeah.
Whereas I can
just
essentially
lay it there.
recreate this situation in mine, lay it down and pick it back up. So like they would each have their advantages and disadvantages.
And this is for being in like a vehicle.
Yeah.
A cup holder.
Cup holder. And then the other thing that's cool, and I really do like about this one, is it's got the lid. So when you're done, it seals. Oh, sorry. Yeah, when you're done, you take it. And I mean, it's a pretty good seal on it too. So you're going to keep that smell from the ash in there.
Yeah, so you can toss your butt down in there
and close it up and let it
Sounds like a party.
kill itself there. So I like that style. I like yours as well, like you're saying, like for while you're smoking and going. If you're going to set it down, the only problem is in a car, the cigar's not going anywhere in this one. In that one, it potentially could, but even that, it's doubtful. I mean,
Again,
you got to lock up the brakes with a digger sitting on there for it to go flying into the car.
Yeah, your biggest concern is if you take a tight turn, having it roll out the side.
Yeah,
And
and then
I've had
down
it
between the
happen.
seats, and that then you have to pull over real fast because you're like, I used to like my interior.
Yeah.
Again, there are not a lot of situations where you're going to rest your cigar in the ashtray while you're driving because typically you're holding it smoking.
Well, that's
Right.
like being a cigarette smoker. Sam, you smoked cigarettes?
I did.
Corey, and you smoked
I was
cigarettes?
3 packs a day. Yeah.
Okay. So one of my favorite experiences when I would smoke cigarettes is taking out a last drag off that cigarette and flipping it out the window.
Yep.
But then having
Then
the window behind me open,
And it come right back in.
the other. You hear it, poof, and you look in the rear view mirror, and there's the cherry has exploded, and you see the rain of ash.
I'm gonna one up you. I got one better for you. 17-year-old Corey, driving on 376 by near Monroeville on the highway. My jam was I would open the sunroof, and then I would open everything really, but I would typically flick my cigarette out the sunroof. And one day, I did so, only to have it come back in the window and land in my baggy shorts and roll down somewhere between my thigh and my butt cheek and stay there. While I'm driving this car on the highway, standing up, doing this, trying to shake it out because it's burning the crap out of me. That was a good time, yeah.
Yeah, and then you got the burn mark in the seat.
And probably still on my butt cheek somewhere.
Probably you got that little scar action going on there.
All right, so here's a fun one.
Let's hear it.
How did your parents find out you smoked?
Oh man, my mom. I think they had their suspicion.
Were they smokers first?
My mom and my dad were both
Okay.
smokers.
That helps hide it.
Yeah.
My dad quit smoking when I was young, and you talk about like the willpower. He one day he smoked Cools. Oh. And one day he takes the cigarettes out of his. He woke up. He was hacking and coughing and stuff like that, and he was like, "Well, this sucks." And he took his pack of cigarettes, put them in a garbage can. Never smoked another one. And then when I was older, probably about 25 years old, he started smoking again, and then smoked for a little while, a few years, and then quit again. But when they found out I was smoking, God, it's so hard to remember because of when I started smoking. I started smoking when I was 12 years old.
Yeah, same here.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was older sister induced.
Me
So
too.
Yeah, I had
little bit.
older friends. Both my parents smoked.
Yeah. So, how about you?
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to get me on this too because it jumps at, it's like a sharp memory in the old bank.
Same here.
Okay, so was living at my aunt and uncle at the time. So when I lived with my mom and my stepdad, I never actually got caught, which is crazy because I got caught doing everything. Like my stepdad was like an authoritarian, tyrant. But I had friends whose parents smoked, and I'd go hang out in there. So like I would often come home from friend's house smelling like smoke. So it's kind of not too hard there, I remember I got caught with a lighter one time, but never cigarettes. So fast forward along, and my grandfather worked in the local operators union 66 and was he was a mechanic for Caterpillar bulldozers and stuff, right? So their yearly union picnic was at Kennywood, which if you're not from Pittsburgh is our local super awesome theme park, right? Like amusement park.
It's old too.
Yeah, it's been around
It's
a
got some
minute.
character,
Yeah.
So we go, and I don't remember why, but we were there like super early. We were like one of the first 50 people in the park. Park's empty. And so we go to set everything up, and we split off. And like I get what I consider to be a reasonable distance away. We're like just rolling through the park, and I'm smoking a cigarette. And I just hear, "Corey, when did you start smoking?" And I look up and I see my grandpap like 75 feet away. And I just turned around and power walked the opposite direction and just avoided having to go back until it was time to leave so I wouldn't have to deal with it.
That's
Yep.
funny.
Oh man.
And I don't remember it being as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Whenever I did have to like ultimately face them, but I was like, "Nah, today's going to be a good day. We're saving this for later."
Yeah. No, I have. I rode my bicycle everywhere all the time. So I'm getting
With
rid.
no handlebars?
I love that song. It's so terrible
that
too.
song.
I know. That's why I love it because it's terrible. But no, my mom started to suspect I was smoking, and I remember I put my jacket on because it was cold out, and I go to leave, and she's like, "Hold on a second. Oh God. Let me check your pockets." Okay, go ahead. and I reached in my pocket, and there was a pack of matches, and I just scissor fingered it like that and hoped for the best. And I went, what? And it worked. And she like checked my pockets, and I was like, what do you want? She's like, you're smoking. I went, no. She's like, yeah, you are. I'm holding this, sweating bullets.
I mean, matches aren't by themselves incriminating.
Yeah.
You're a delinquent. You're doing other stuff
Yeah.
with those two.
No, there was no out at that point. She had been on this ride for a couple weeks, but I didn't get caught. It's like a year later, and I'm in the basement cleaning the basement out with my dad, and it's a hand dug, all flagstone basement, so it's always just crappy and dank and dark, and it's just a workshop. We're cleaning up down there. My dad goes, I'm out of cigarettes. Go get me one of yours. And I went, what are you talking about? He goes, look, you're 18 years old. I don't care. Go get you cigarettes. I want one. And I'm like, Dad, I don't smoke. And he's like, sure you don't. Go get me a cigarette. I'm like, Dad, I don't smoke. He's like, I don't care. Go get me a cigarette.
Right.
Finally, I'm like,
that addiction kicks in, and
He's like, I'm Jones and boy, don't make me slap you.
there's no, like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, I don't understand how to play this. Like, what's my out here? Like, I just said no, and he went, yeah, that's cool. Go do it. And I'm like, all right, they're in my Jeep. Like, so the old Jeeps had the removable carpet, and there was a flap. So I just picked the flap up, slid them under there, and that was always the spot.
Oh.
And my mom, come to find out years later, she had known I was smoking, and she'd found them there a couple times. Every time my mom would drive my Jeep, they'd be crushed under that floor. Just every time. Like, you have to, like, and she'd just crush them every time
that's funny.
because I didn't tell her. So
See, I have a similar story to that.
I go get the cigarettes, and I come back in the house, and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette. And he's like, yeah, I figured as much. I was like, great. He goes, I'll give you one day to tell your mom, and then I'm telling her. Yep.
So, my dad, and Corey has met my father. He was
I haven't met your father. I've met Roger.
okay.
Because I believe those are two different people sometimes. Isn't that fair?
Sometimes now
Yes,
they are two
yes,
different
yes.
people.
The Roger that exists now currently
Right.
is some version of your father. But he is not the guy you're telling stories about.
Okay, my dad, he was super like there wasn't an option. My friends, my sister's friends, my older sister's friends, if you came to our house, you respected the rules that my father had in place,
Like your
or
dad.
you didn't come back. Like,
Yep.
if you were into hip hop music and you sagged your pants a little bit, you pulled them up when you walked through that
Yep.
door. That was 100%. And we didn't swear in front of my father. My dad didn't swear.
Hi, Chris Scales.
And I didn't smoke in front of my father until I was almost 27 years old. So, and like I said, been smoking since I was 12. So the day that like the gloves came off and I was finally like, oh, maybe me and this man can have a relationship that's more than you're my dad. Yes,
Commanding
sir.
officer, yeah.
Right.
We can be buddies now, maybe.
We're on the golf course. And I would go the entire round of golf without smoking. Or I would, sneak off somewhere, have a couple quick puffs off the cigarette and toss it in the woods. And we're sitting there, and I will never forget this. We're on hole 11 of Rolling Green. And I'm sitting there like this, and it's cold out. And I'm wearing a shirt, like a T-shirt underneath with a shirt pocket. And I've got a little pullover on over top of it. And he slaps me in the shoulder, and he was like, give me a cigarette. And I looked at him, and he was like, give me a cigarette. I reached into my shirt, pulled out the pack of cigarettes, handed him one, handed him the lighter. He tosses it in his mouth. He lights it up. And I was like, I put one in my mouth, lit the lighter, and was like,
You're like, am I in arm's
Am I going to get a hit?
I was twitchy, man. I'm like, is he gonna be like, what the hell are you doing, boy?
It's like just a big ruse.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're 30 years old.
Yeah. But that was him, and I mean, like Corey said, Corey's met Roger.
Yeah.
And that was mostly the guy that I grew up with.
Yeah. It's so funny how that all works. Like how once you've established adulthood, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the real relationship I have with them at all anymore. Oh,
Right.
no. And then it's confusing for a while. Even some of my aunts and uncles, I'm like, are we friends now? Or you still, like, I don't really know. No, oh, you're still holding on to that? Okay, you need that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can still be the authority on that. Like,
Well, there was a point in time. My mother was still alive, and I think I was married. Yeah, I was married at this point. My oldest sister, or my youngest sister, was still living at my mom and dad's house, I think. So I go over to my mom and dad's house, and my dad's out in the driveway working. And he starts like yelling at me because he asked me to help him, and I didn't understand what he wanted me to do.
yeah.
Right?
Hold the flashlight, boy.
Right. I didn't understand. And he's like yelling at me, and I was like, hold on a second there, bud. And he looks up at me, and I was like, I can go home.
Did he give you the dog look? Do you like toad his head?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I was like, I can go home and not come back. I don't have to help you.
Yeah.
I have my own house, my own bills, all that stuff.
All my own problems.
Yep. I said, I don't have to come back here. I don't have to come here at all. I said, you'll deal with her. And I pointed to my mother, who was standing in the yard, like watching this happen with just this look of, I can't believe he's saying this
Yeah.
on his face. And he was like it deflated him.
Like, my bad. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he was like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'd be happy to help you now.
Yeah, let's go. There's a right way to handle this, and there's the way you were doing it.
Right.
I got two options for you because I've been using my pen to
Okay.
stave off my ADD from losing. So I got two options for you. I'm gonna do both, but you pick the order. I can relate to the dad rules, or we could talk about stashes. Which one do you want first?
Stashes?
Let's do
Stashes.
dad rules because that'll
Yeah,
that's
dad
where we're
rules.
at.
Yep.
So-
Dad rules. You talked about when you come into my house, you follow those rules, right? So when I was raising my kids, like, we had a lot of other couples who had kids the same age. We were lucky that way in the friend group that we had, like, there were lots of kids around all the time. And some of them were better off than us. Some of them were worse off. But my rule is, your kids are at my house, they're my kid.
Sure.
They follow the same rules, like, and like, there were parents that just did not vibe with that. And
Yep.
it's like, particularly ones that were worse off. And it's like, listen, my kids have these rules to follow. When your kid's here, your kid gets everything my kid gets.
Yep.
If I take, we would bring them along and take them
Yeah.
places. And this one particular woman and her son would come with us, good friends with Shannon. And if I bought my kids ice cream,
You bought all
I
of them.
know she didn't have money to buy him stuff. He'd get one too. If we went
Yeah.
to a gift shop at the museum or the zoo, I'd get something for that kid too. Your kid gets everything that
It's
my
my
kid
kid.
gets.
Sure.
So why would I treat that, like, why would I let your kid come over to my house and do things that my kids aren't allowed to do?
Right.
That's not fair. You know what I mean? So that
Right.
was always the rule, and it led to some complications. And I don't want to go to any. It wouldn't never get back. I don't think it'd be an issue anyway. But I'm still, going to be respectful.
Yeah, respectful
and not
to- sure.
speak to a specific situation. But there was a point in time where there was a friend that we didn't see for about 6 months because of one of those conflicts.
Okay.
They're just like, yeah, I'm not going
Yeah,
to
that's
back here
rough.
for a while.
Well,
It's
we-
like, that's fine, but that's not how this works. You can't have me take care of your kid like he's one of my kids and not expect him to have to follow my rules too.
Yeah, we had foster kids for a little bit. Britt and I did, and
Really?
yeah, they had a friend come over, and the mom shows up and she's like, "Hey, he can only eat this and this," and I was like, "Oh, does he have allergies?" She's like, "No, he just won't eat anything else." I was like, "Oh, well, he'll eat dinner then," and she's like, "Well, no, I brought," and I was like, "He'll eat the same thing everybody else is eating." Like, I don't mean to be rude, but like, they're not getting out of it, and like, these kids had problems, so like, everything had to be super militant with them. Like, there was no gray area with these kids, and she kind of him-hawed a little bit. Kid ate coleslaw, chicken nuggets. I can't remember what all we had, but like, all things she's like, yeah, he'll never eat that. Like, this kid lived on crazy bread from Little Caesars. Like, they would go to Little Caesars to get food like twice a day for this kid. And I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. He ate fine the whole time he was there because it wasn't an option. Yeah. And he saw when he first walked in us have this discussion, and she was not receptive to it at all. But she did respect it. Like, she didn't, she was not a fan.
Yeah.
But she also knew he would be fine. He wasn't going to starve to death missing this meal.
I also think maybe she may have been not under the impression, but she may have thought to herself, oh, you'll see.
Right.
You'll see.
Yeah. And it didn't fly that way because it was, hey, we're going to sit down. We're going to eat dinner. You guys have 20 minutes. We're going to eat dinner in 20 minutes. And then we're going to move on to, like, everything was so, I'm so glad I don't have to live like that anymore. It was so
structured.
Everything was clocked. Everything was timed. Everything was exact all the time. And this kid, I think he was like this the whole time, like, oh, it's like that.
Well,
and
no.
But he was excellent the whole time. He bucked a little bit when the food came out. You could see he was uncomfortable trying it. But this kid tried coleslaw, and he was terrified of it. And that was the one thing I wasn't going to tell him he had to eat. Because, like,
sure.
It's divisive for many people.
Yeah, that's an interesting texture.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a
coleslaw
fan.
is the thing that's going to still be on the food tray when I throw out the food tray.
Yeah, and he went after it, and he tried it, and he goes, oh, this is really good. I was like, I'll tell your mom. He goes, please don't. I was like, all right. Is it actually good? He's like, yeah, I actually like it. I just don't want to eat it often.
Sure.
And back then, I thought that meant, like, oh, he's just trying to keep his ruse going with his mom. And now that I have kids, I'm like, oh, no. That's a kid's nice way of saying, I hate this, but I'm going to do it because I have to.
Because you're scary.
My kids do the same thing, though. They're like, oh, that's really good. Oh, do you want some more? No. Oh, okay. Got it.
It's funny because those situations will show you, like, environmental is a huge factor. Like, people say, oh, no, that's just how he is. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not, because, I mean, sometimes, but I've had kids at my house that were just a mess for their parents. And they'd come over and, like, so there was a time before I got into the oil field where I was in the Boilermaker Union, and that comes with a lot of layoff time. Mm-hmm. So there was times when I was staying home with the kids while my wife was working. And so occasionally I would, watch the other kids as a favor, you know what I mean? And so their friends would be over and stuff, and it was like, okay, I'm trying to be cool because, like, you're not used to me. And I'd try to, like, pull back a little bit. And eventually it would come to, like, screaming or punishing. And those kids that were just terrible, most of the time, bam.
Excellent.
Flip it around. And that kid would, and not only that, they'd still love me. It wasn't like they were terrified
Kids
of me. They
like that.
So excited.
My son has a friend who's got a pretty interesting name, and I'm not going to say it, but my son.
Let's call him Cockatoo.
No, that's Ryan.
So my son has this friend, and he is a little.
He's over there.
He is very rebellious.
Yeah.
Right. And he's part of the Boy Scout troop. And nobody can keep this kid under control. And I remember he came to camp with us one year, the year I went. And they were like, man, you're going to have to watch him. He's going to be,
all over the place.
All over the place and stuff like that. And I had a talk with him because I drove the boys up to camp. And I stayed there the whole time. I drove him up to camp, and I had a talk with him. And I was like, look, there is going to be time to have fun and be goofy and do all that stuff. I said, but we are absolutely going to respect this place, follow the rules. I said, I will put you in the car.
And we'll go home.
And drive us all home, every one of us. And he did not. He was the most well-behaved because there came a time, and I was like, all right, go do whatever you want. You guys want to go be bad kids off in the woods?
Go throw rocks and stuff? Go do it.
Go do it.
Yeah.
And I remember they'd come over to me, and they asked me, they're like, can we go over in the tennis courts? There was like a shed that had like balls and stuff in it, and they were like
the ball shed,
and they were like, can we go over there and play? And I think the rule was they had to go get someone to get into there. I was like, God, God, You've been fine.
You gave them the freedom and the respect because they earned it.
Right.
And that the kids, whether they know it or not, they pick up on that.
Absolutely.
Here's one I got a question on. What happened to play dates being a way for parents to, like, have somebody else watch their kids? Because now it seems like the parents want to hang out. And I'm like, dude, drop the kids and get out. Go enjoy your freedom. Why are you lingering in my home right now?
Different era.
I can watch your kids. It's okay.
That's it. I don't even think it's that. I think that we are as just a society now, we are so separate from each other because of the internet, because of cell phones and stuff like that. We would
Plus,
rather
you're post-COVID.
right.
Yeah.
Which is
we would
different.
rather contact and talk to each other over a digital forum rather than sit and hang out.
That's the question.
And I think in the case of my wife, I know we have a couple friends that one of my friends' mom or one of their friends' moms will come over and she'll like bring a bottle of wine with her. She's like, I don't get time to hang out and, be friendly or social. So I'm going to sit here and you and I can drink this bottle of wine. We'll sit on the porch and we'll talk.
Yeah.
And I would think the same thing. Like if you were to bring your kids to my house, we'd go sit out on the back porch and have a cigar or something like that.
Well, that's the question I have to ask on this is, do you think it's because, like, are these people that you're active friends with?
No.
So is it because, do you think it's because they want the socialization with the other grown-ups, or do you think it's because they're like helicopter parents?
The one I'm referencing in my mind is helicopter parent.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
Just
at
don't
least
wanna let
I
the
believe
kid out
that.
of
Yeah.
their sight.
Because, like, I get it. But, like, and they, like, we're talking, I automatically start with 3 kids. Like, that's how it works.
Sure.
So if you
That's
bring
the
over a kid
responsible
that.
way to do it.
Yeah. But, like, if you've got, okay, so I got 3. If you bring 1 or 2 kids over, I'm at 4 or 5 kids.
Right.
I don't have time to talk to you with 4 or 5 6-year-olds.
Sure.
It just doesn't work that way.
You now have a birthday
Yeah.
party.
I am now doing this.
That's actually kind of funny because I always thought in my experience when the kids were like way younger that it was actually easier to have more because the
Yeah.
kids would just
Then they
kind of
enter-
go like not need you for they just wanted to play with their friends. So it was like we could have multiple sets of parents get together and the kids would just go do their thing until somebody needed something. It wouldn't always be like back and forth
Yeah.
like, hey, can you? It was just like they would go. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, well, and then like Britt and her friends in the summer, they'll have the play dates, and they'll sit around the fire, and the kids will play in the yard, but they plan the play dates for that. I'm talking about hey, can Jimmy come over? Yeah, I call Jimmy's mom or dad and be like, hey, I'm Sam, I'm so and so's dad, whatever. I don't know you, but our kids want to play. Like back in the day, that's how you. That's what you drop them off. You're like, hey, I'm Sam. Nice to finally meet you. This is my son. Don't hurt him. Okay, bye. Like,
Well,
Those days are
you
over.
could hurt them a little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
I've never experienced that. I've never had a parent want to sit and like hang out that I've never met.
That's
The
just
one I'm
'cause
talking
people
about,
don't
she
like
stood
you.
like in the corner and just like stood there awkwardly and just like watched the kids. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep doing what I would normally do, and you can just be you can be this guy.
A
Like,
hat rack.
You're like, I'm out in the garage building a shed.
yeah,
I'm gonna go
Why
do
would you
that.
put a
now.
shed in your garage?
We'd
build
start
the
frame,
panels,
yeah.
get it started. I get what he's saying. Not my shed; it was too big.
All right, we're going to move things along here. So real quick, I'll give you the quick stash. And this
Yeah.
is only because your stash got trampled and so did mine. All right. So I lived with my aunt and uncle when I was a teenager, and I was a bit rebellious. But in those days, we didn't have the internet. We had things called magazines and
Yes.
videotapes, yes?
Yes,
We all
yes,
familiar?
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
So-
I see where this is going.
I had a safe in my room that I acquired from a friend, like a keypad safe, yeah? It was pretty big. And that thing had a collection in it of nudie mags and videos of certain persuasions that I
Yes.
collected along my time because I like new material. You know what I mean? You gotta
Sure.
Yeah.
work your way through. And this was on top of my dresser, this thing was, as soon as you walk in the door. Well, one day I come home and apparently I had not latched the safe all the way.
Yikes.
So my aunt had done some laundry and put it away in my dresser. And when she closed the door to the safe come open, and my collection poured all over her and onto the floor. And so when I come home from school, I open the door and find every VHS tape trampled to dust and just everything spread everywhere. And I don't know if anything was ever said. Maybe I got yelled at later
Look at the
for it.
comments. I'm sorry. Chris Scales' comment is exactly what Jason and I did. We both went like this, and that's her comment.
Yeah.
Listen, that's not a part of your life you normally share with other people.
No.
But everybody had something stashed, even if it was a Good Housekeeping magazine. You know what I mean? But so, like, I just remember the shame of sitting there with a trash bag, nobody there, just putting all this stuff that was just destroyed into the
Was it
trash
shame
bag.
or was it disappointment because they were gone?
Both.
Okay.
Oh, of course.
Both.
Well, I was
Yeah,
just
so
curious which was the overwhelming feeling at the time.
It was a whirlwind. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was definitely that, like, now what am I going to do tonight before I go to bed? You know?
no! How am I going to go to
Gonna
sleep
have to
without my
use-
dopamine?
I'm like, man, I'm going to have to use my imagination.
Oh,
Like I can't close my eyes and visualize women anymore. I need the I need that
You need the
visual
visual, right?
stimulation.
Absolutely.
she said disappointment level 100.
Yeah.
You're
Oh yeah.
welcome. I do it for you guys. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
All right. So, yep.
Yep. No, I was gonna say final thoughts on the cigar.
No.
Oh,
We
we got our question.
Yeah, we'll do that because we're already
Yeah.
done with this cigar. So we'll touch base on that right at the close. But real quick, we got a comment on YouTube. This is March 21st from Charlie B5252. Says, great episode, Junkies. This is our most recent. You were the one that pulled the comment. So.
Yeah, that was our most recent.
All right, so this was our last show. Great episode, Junkies. Really enjoy when you guys focus more on cigar experience. Sorry about the last 20
Today.
minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not to say I don't enjoy when you all ramble on about life and everything else, but as a novice cigar smoker, you guys give me some great advice.
Like here's this comment, and here's how we just trampled on it. With
Much like Corey Stash.
right.
Yes.
I need to watch live sometimes so I can ask questions, but always look forward to watching later in the week. So, a question for you. Do you think seasonal cigars are a thing? I've only been smoking cigars for 2 years and haven't developed my palate, so I tend to give everything a shot, but I find most cigar smokers like what they like, while I also see a lot of videos of the best cigars for spring, summer, and winter. And let's go to the amateur first, if you don't mind. Do you have
Absolutely.
anything to weigh in here, or are you much in his position?
I'm of the school of thought that I like what I like. I smoke what I smoke. It doesn't matter if it's spring, summer. I think the seasonal thing is kind of like marketing. You know what I mean? If you like pumpkin spice, you don't have to wait till fall to drink
Yeah,
pumpkin
you can
spice.
drink it whenever you want.
You can drink it in the middle of summer, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you the coin toss. Me or you?
Go ahead.
You want me first? There's a lot of factors at play here. Some of it is McDonald's limited time only Ribwich Shamrock Shake, and that's this month is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Candela, it's green, so everybody pumps it out and focuses on it and said, "Hey, isn't this festive?" Because it ties in. That's a very minor portion of it for cigars versus things like beers. Whereas beers, you get pumpkin stuff in the
Right.
fall, and you get like, you know, your Christmas orientation, stuff like that. I don't think there's so much of a flavor thing with cigars for the most part. I think it happens to pair with what you're doing during those seasons. So, for example, if you do not have a place to smoke cigars inside of your home, or you don't have a lounge close by, the people that are still active cigar smokers in the colder months tend to go for smaller cigars because they don't want to be outside in the cold as long.
Sure.
So you're going to probably see a lot more people smoking shorter stuff. If you're going to a golf course and you golf whenever it's warm out, you're probably going to pick something bigger to get you through the experience, but also something that's not super expensive because you're not going to pay as much attention to it as you normally would if you were just sitting down smoking a cigar. So I would say that more than anything, an average cigar smoker probably changes what they smoke during the year based on the other things they're doing during the year.
A year ago, I would have agreed with both of you.
Okay.
About 2-3 weeks ago, I realized every cigar I was smoking, I was like, nothing. Like, I just sense of longing with every cigar. And I tend to smoke a lot of light body, medium body, all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna grab a couple heavier ones and see if like I can just punch myself back into it, because I'm disappointed with the cigars I'm smoking. Cigars that I know I like and I love.
Sure.
And I grabbed the Crook of the Crown like 2 weeks ago. I haven't smoked one of those in a while, so I'm like, all right, I love this cigar. Maybe this is the one. And man, it hit all the right notes. And I smoke Connecticut's and lighter Sumatras, more mild cigars all winter long. And in the summer, I want that punchier whatever. And that's just like, it's just funny that this question comes up now, because like I just finished completing the realization in my head of like, I didn't mean to do this. Nobody marketed me to it. Like I go in there and I pick what I want.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, like it is a switch that's flipping in my head, and I didn't even know it was happening.
You've got a pretty, being the owner of a cigar store, you've got a pretty big selection.
Yeah.
Of,
That's my interpretation is I don't know if you can make that judgment call based on, hey, it's this time of year. Once we have another year in of you having the shop, I'd be interested to see how you change throughout the year. I think the one thing that Jason points out that sets you apart from most folks is your constant exposure to cigars, whether
Right.
you want to or not. You have to smoke, and it's just so accessible for you. So you're probably burning your palate out a little bit and your brain in some capacities. And maybe I would even suggest that the next time you feel that way, try just giving yourself a break and
Well, and
coming back.
That's kind of what I did on this one, right? But it's not just off of this year of happening. It is the conglomeration of like the last couple of years of smoking. I've like, as I thought back over it, like I am lighter cigars all like when it's cooler.
Yeah.
And I'm like at night, I actually like a Connecticut more than I like a Maduro, even though I'm the end of the day, that time of day, that wind down, I want that more friendly, creamy, whatever profile. And during the day, I want that more aggressive, something fuller body.
Okay.
Like, I agree with you. If I hadn't, because I've inundated myself with choice selection for a long time. Like I've never had a box of this cigar and that's what I have to smoke out of for the 2 weeks. I've always had 20 choices in my humidor.
Sure.
Like, I've always had the broad profile available to me.
And I think
You
that's
kind of have a broad profile.
that's something crazy as far as how I got into and where I am now as a cigar smoker, because I think in the course of smoking cigars, I think I've probably bought 4 boxes.
Yeah.
Right? And now I have a humidor with almost 200 cigars in it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have a duplicate.
Yeah.
Jelly.
And that's how my collection's always been. It's always been 2 or 3 of each thing, but like a bunch of different things. And I've always gone in and picked based on my mood, what I'm going to eat,
Yep.
what I'm going to do. And I've always selected based on that. And then I'm realizing there's always, every year, there's these transition points where like I'm selecting it and it's not hitting well. It's not doing what I expect it to do. And I've smoked this thing 1,000 times.
Sure.
I've smoked 50 of this cigar. Like I smoke a ton of the Call to Arms. That's one of my go-to cigars. It hasn't been hitting right for me lately. Like it's just not doing it for me. It's great. It's good. It tastes like I expect it. It's just not giving me the sensation or the feeling that I want it to have, even though I know what I'm getting into. It doesn't tick the box for me.
So, as a guy that smokes, for the most part, quantities of cigars, because I smoke every day. I smoke
Yeah.
a lot more cigars than the average cigar smoker does, and I do have a tendency very much to like if I can get a value on a box or
Yeah.
a bundle, that's how I would go. So I'd kind of have like an everyday cigar I'd change up on the weekends, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but so there is something to be said for burning yourself out on just
Yeah.
having the same thing over and over again, of being like, man, I've had steak every day for dinner for a month. Steak isn't going to hit the same way
Right.
anymore. And I've caught myself going like, hey, is the cigar different? Am I different? What the heck's going on? And it just seems to have like this kind of, you have almost like a chemical reaction and symbiosis with the cigar. And sometimes you're just going to see that it may not hit right. And to add further to the complication of that, it's a handmade product. It's based on the seasons and all that stuff.
Sure.
So the cigar could be different.
Yeah.
And
Different
it's-
nitrogen levels in the soil.
And that's what makes it really tough, is because you're going, is it me, is it the cigar?
Right.
Either one is equally possible. But most times the cigar manufacturer's doing their best to keep it
Yeah.
consistent. So assume it's you first, try a couple of different things, and then go back and see what happens.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that exactly what you're saying is like, it's that. And that's what I thought was going on. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to grab, like the Crook of the Crown, or I'll grab the Poison Dart. I'm grabbing something that I have that I know I liked that's different from what I really want right now.
Sure.
But this is hitting perfect right now. Like, this is everything on this is phenomenal right now. That Monte Cristo that we just had was phenomenal right
great.
now.
It was a
It
good
was the
cigar.
right style of cigar for what
For the
I
moment.
wanted today. And that's not what I would have selected for myself if I'd have gone in there.
So long story short, Charlie, yes. It plays a factor, but it depends on the person and the smoker. I don't necessarily think that most people are going, unless it's in your mentality of wanting something different for a different season.
Sure.
But I do think more than anything else, the other things that you do during different seasons are going to have an effect on what you want to smoke also.
Yeah,
So,
it's if there's no shame or no wrong way, I think, to base your selection of cigars. If you're like, oh, this is my Christmas cigar, that's cool.
Enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely enjoy it. If this is my football season cigar, great. But I think if he's asking, is there a cigar that comes out in a certain season that, kind of like
the
how
April Fools or the Filthy Hooligan, all that.
well, no, like pumpkins grow in the fall,
Right.
Well,
tomatoes grow in the summer. There's
those are like seasonal when they
Yeah.
only get
Sure.
get focused on certain times.
But
you're eating different stuff too.
Sure.
So like your
Absolutely.
your palate's different.
absolutely,
If you're eating different.
you could be eating the potatoes and cabbage in the fall,
Candela.
and yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
we're all. It's funny how we're all focused on, hey, we need to end this show, and then we all just keep.
But there's a
rolling
lot to
freaking
talk
right
about.
along.
Unfortunately, I got that event coming in 45 minutes, and
That's
I
fine.
have to, redo the place.
All right, guys. Here's what I got for you. The Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary. Great cigar.
Yeah.
Reasonable price point, too, for an anniversary series cigar.
Yeah.
And everything that it was. I would definitely recommend buying that. I'll buy it again. There's no wrong way to smoke a cigar except for with your butt. Sorry, Eric. Any other way you want to do it's cool. So that's
now we
my
have to
take
have
on
the
it.
nose smoke challenge for Corey.
No.
Yeah.
Please check us out at thecigarjunkies.com, where you can find all of our information, all of our latest episodes, all of our swag, all those great things. We are not 100% sure whether we're doing a show next week. Next week is Easter. We've been going back and forth. I'll keep you guys updated on the Facebook group and let you guys know one way or another. And if we don't see you, I hope you guys have a great time with your family. And that's going to be pretty much about it for me. You got anything to add to it?
Nah, great cigar, great time, all that. I appreciate it.
Say the same.
Salud.